night was heavy, the kind of night where the air itself seemed to press down on the world below. It was late summer, 2015, in the rural sprawl of southern Ohio, where the trees grew thick and the shadows stretched long. Brandon, a man in his early 20s, sat behind the wheel of his car, the engine humming softly as he navigated the winding backroads. The clock on the dashboard glowed a faint green, just past 11 p.m. He was tired, bone tired, after a long shift at the factory where he worked. The road ahead was a familiar one, a quiet stretch of asphalt flanked by dense woods on one side and a steep, brush-covered hill on the other. He'd driven it 100 times before, the monotony of it lulling him into a kind of autopilot. But tonight, something was different. Tonight, the darkness felt alive. The headlights cut through the gloom, illuminating the cracked pavement and the occasional glint of a deer's eyes in the underbrush. Brandon's mind drifted, replaying the day's grind, when a flicker of movement snapped him back to the present. Up ahead, just beyond the reach of his high beams, something darted across the road. It was quick, too quick to make out clearly, but large enough to send a jolt through his chest. A deer, he told himself, gripping the steering wheel a little tighter. Just a deer. The woods were full of them this time of year. He eased off the gas, letting the car coast, his eyes scanning the tree line. The silence pressed in, broken only by the low rumble of the engine and the faint chirping of crickets. Then he saw it. It emerged from the shadows on the right side of the road, where the hill sloped upward into a tangle of vines and scrub. At first, Brandon's brain struggled to process the shape. It wasn't a deer. It wasn't anything he'd ever seen before. The creature stood upright, towering at least 7 feet tall, its silhouette stark against the dim glow of the night sky. Its legs were long and muscular, bent at an odd angle, like a dog's, but thicker, more powerful. Its arms hung low, ending in hands that looked almost human, but tipped with claws that gleamed faintly in the headlights. And its head, its head was a nightmare-made flesh. A canine snout, elongated and sharp, jutted from a face framed by pointed ears that twitched as if listening to the world around it. Fur covered its body, dark and matted, blending into the night like a shadow given form. Brandon slammed on the brakes, the tires squealing against the asphalt as the car lurched to a stop. His heart hammered in his chest, a frantic rhythm that drowned out the crickets. The creature froze, too, caught in the twin beams of light. For a moment, time seemed to hang suspended, the world reduced to just the two of them. Brandon, wide-eyed and breathless in his car, and this thing, this impossible thing, staring back at him, its eyes locked onto his, glowing a sickly yellow, reflective like a predator's in the dark. There was no mistaking it. Those eyes were intelligent, aware, and they were fixed on him. The air inside the car grew thick, suffocating. Brandon's hands trembled on the wheel, his breath coming in shallow gasps. He couldn't move, couldn't think. The creature tilted its head slightly, as if sizing him up, and then it took a step forward. The motion was deliberate, almost casual, its claws clicking faintly against the pavement. Brandon's stomach twisted. He fumbled for the gear shift, his fingers slick with sweat, but his eyes never left the thing in front of him. It took another step, closer now, close enough that he could see the way its lips curled back, revealing a row of jagged teeth that glinted wetly in the light. Panic clawed at him, raw and primal. He jammed the car into reverse, the engine roaring as he floored the gas. The tire spun, then caught, and the car shot backward down the road. The creature didn't chase, not yet, but it turned its head to follow him, those yellow eyes burning into his soul. Brandon twisted in his seat, one hand on the wheel, the other braced against the headrest, steering blindly as the car careened away. The road curved behind him, the headlights swinging wildly across the trees, but he didn't dare slow down. Not until he was sure that thing wasn't coming after him. After what felt like an eternity, he slammed on the brakes again, the car skidding to a halt. His chest heaved, his lungs burning as he sucked in air. He spun around, peering through the windshield, half expecting to see those eyes glowing in the distance. But the road was empty. The night was still, too still. The crickets had gone quiet, and the woods loomed on either side, their branches clawing at the sky like skeletal hands. Brandon sat there, frozen, his mind racing to make sense of what he'd just seen. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a man in a costume. It was something else, something that didn't belong in this world. He didn't know how long he stayed there, staring into the dark, waiting for his pulse to slow. Minutes, maybe long enough for the adrenaline to ebb, leaving him shaky and cold. Finally, he shifted the car back into drive and crept forward, his eyes darting between the road and the shadows. He had to get home. He had to get away. But as he approached the spot where the creature had stood, he slowed again, unable to resist looking. There, on the pavement, were marks, faint scratches in the asphalt, like something heavy and clawed had scraped across it. Proof, however small, that he hadn't imagined it. The rest of the drive was a blur. Brandon kept the windows up, the doors locked, his foot heavy on the gas. Every rustle in the bushes, every snap of a twig, made his heart leap into his throat. When he finally pulled into his driveway, the house dark and silent, he didn't feel safe. He stumbled inside, locking the door behind him, and sank onto the couch, his mind replaying the encounter over and over. Those eyes, that face, the way it had looked at him, like it knew him, like it wanted something from him. Sleep didn't come that night. Brandon sat in the dim glow of a single lamp, listening to the sounds of the house, the creaks and groans that now seemed sinister. He didn't tell anyone what he'd seen, not his co-workers, not his family. Who would believe him? A 7-foot-tall Dogman on a backroad in Ohio? It sounded crazy even to him, but he knew what he'd seen. He knew it was real. Years later, in 2023, Brandon finally shared a story with what lurks beneath, his voice steady but laced with the weight of memory. He described the creature in vivid detail. 7 feet tall, canine features, yellow eyes, clawed hands. He recounted the date, late summer 2015, and the time just after 11 p.m. He spoke of the road, the hill, the woods, and the scratches on the pavement. He didn't claim to understand what it was, only that it had been there, staring at him through the darkness. And though he'd never seen it again, the memory lingered, a shadow that followed him long after that night in southern Ohio. The woods, he said, were different now. Every time he drove that road, he felt it, the weight of unseen eyes watching from the trees.